Hello, everybody. Welcome back to How Come and Happy New Year. Happy 2025. I am excited for this year, especially if this episode is an indication of how it will go, because it is so hot and so horny, and I can't wait for you to hear it. We are talking to my friend, hairstylist, and occasional adult film actor, Christian Camacho, discussing so much stuff. Orgies versus sex parties, fisting, foot play, role play, sex work, breath work, losing your mojo, and jacking off. It can be hard, and not in the way that you want. This and so much more, including labels in the LGBTQIA community, Christian's road to self-discovery, and how bisexuality and queerness is viewed in the media and with famous people versus with people in everyday life. And then we're talking sexual goals for the year. Christian tells us his, and then I am reading yours, the Cumpanions, what you guys have submitted for your goals in the Marvel section, which, if you're new here, it is the little part of the podcast after the outro song. Bet you didn't know that was there. Some of you didn't. You got to stick around for after the credits. But yeah, this episode is going to be a lot of fun. I should say this in every episode, but all of Christian's preferences and thoughts are his own. He is not projecting them onto anybody else. So if there's something you disagree with it. But that's okay. We're all different. You're awesome. This episode is awesome. We are going to have a blast.
How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help. 'Cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna jizz.
I'm so excited. Welcome, Christian.
It's good to be here, Remy.
I can't believe you're back in New York.
I know. I love it here. It's such just the energy boost that I get when I'm here, and I thrive in this, I honestly feel.
I feel like you're thriving all the time.
Well, yeah, but I come here often to get that
that boost.
Yeah, that reboost. Because at home, I just get very in like a chill sense of life, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start where we met. We met here.
We did. We met here, I want to say it was 9 or 10 years ago.
Yeah, and life was different.
Oh, yeah. Life was very different. I was barely figuring out my sexuality at that point.
You had a girlfriend when I first met you.
No.
Yeah. Or maybe it was just like a very recent ex. Yeah.
I broke up with my girlfriend around 25, I want to say, or so. And around that breakup is kind of like when I started exploring other things. Mm-hmm. Just, I don't think it was necessarily something that I was like keeping hidden from myself, just something that I didn't know about myself yet. And being that I liked girls also, it was confusing because bisexuality isn't really like...
Wasn't talked about as much,
but even still... today is still kind of challenged in a sense. Like
totally.
No one fully believes it unless you live the bi life that like they think is bi.
Yeah.
So now since I don't sleep with girls often and it's been a while, technically I can't like say that anymore to people because they're like, well...
I think you still can.
Yeah, but I mean, I still say it,
yeah,
but they don't want to believe it.
For sure.
They're like, well, when was the last time you had sex with a girl? And it's like, unless it was within
ago.
this year. Yeah. Well,
no.
Not quite, because I worked at this fun party where it was like a sex show and it was 2 guys and a girl, so therefore I hooked up with the girl in that moment. Mm-hmm. But I haven't dated a girl in over 10 years for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so at that time you were mostly modeling?
I was doing some modeling. I was doing what was I even doing then?
I feel like a lot.
I did modeling, I did sex work, I did like massages.
Uh-huh.
It was a lot of that though.
But did you do sex work before coming out to yourself?
I started off sex work with like an older woman type of situation.
Okay.
And my first experience with that, I think I was like 23.
How did it come about?
Craigslist. I just needed money. And I used to like going on there and looking through just the like wanted ads of stuff. And I think that was kind of what initially sparked like any sort of gay curiosity as well. Cause I would see like male for male ads on there too. And I would like click those just to see what it was and feel things inside, I suppose.
Just from written descriptions?
Yeah, written descriptions.
Ooh.
I really enjoyed reading the like wanted ads of what they were looking, and then that escalated to me posting ads to see like who would respond.
Total.
And
wanted to feel wanted.
Right. And I started offering like massage, and that's kind of how that initially started.
Did you ever do massage classes?
No.
You just knew that you're good at it.
Yeah, I'm just very aware and in tune with people and the body and what I would like. So I kind of like focus on that. I like touch. So.
And like I made the joke about being wanted, but Christian and I were literally just talking about how like he has this like effect where people just kind of like want you and like want to be around you. Has that always been a thing?
I want to say yes. I don't think it's something that like I thought about much or even now think about too much. But back then, like I hadn't dealt with the situations that I've dealt with now, so I didn't overthink it as much. I think I've always just been good at being comfortable, like being myself and self-aware and independent, self-sufficient and all that. So like I give a very carefree, nonchalant type of attitude that people are drawn to and then threatened by.
Yeah, you're very secure.
Yeah.
Like all the things that you're saying, I'm like, oh my God, can't relate.
But see, it's funny because like I am secure, but I have a lot of insecurities as well in there. It just goes back to like, I think I have a strong or a good head on my shoulders that I'm able to acknowledge that and like analyze it and kind of break that down and not let it like emotionally affect me too much.
Yeah. And we've talked about attachment styles a bunch and how it relates to like parenting. Did your parents foster a sense of like security?
Yes, my parents are definitely good parents. They were always present. They did all the things like parents should do. And they're always like supportive and there for me. I think that I just kind of decided that like my parents got divorced when I was 7, so I needed to grow up earlier.
Okay.
And the divorce wasn't like horrible, but it wasn't the cleanest of things either. And my other siblings kind of handled it differently and were more of they needed the kind of attention or something from my parents. I hate to use the word victim, but like people fall into either victim roles or like problem solvers of sorts.
Yeah.
And
it affected them more.
Yeah. I chose more to be the problem solver and not allow it as like an excuse of, well, it's because my parents are divorced and that's why this, or it's because of, whatever. I just got it done. So at an early age, my parents always, I just remember them being like, I don't worry about you because you've got it handled, which kind of made me start feeling like if I ever did not have it handled, like not to say it and just kind of like fake it till I did figure it out.
Right. I kind of had that with my mom would always talk about, because like we're 4 kids, and she would be like, you're the type of kid that I could like leave you alone for hours and you would like figure out what to do, and you would have like creative, like made up friends, and like you would just occupy yourself. And on the one hand, that makes you feel like very adult before you're adult, but then also it's like, well, why did you want to leave me alone for hours?
Yeah.
And I know that she had other kids and other shit going on, but yeah, it can go both ways.
There's like a subliminal feeling of, or a subconscious feeling of neglect of sorts. And like my parents were not neglectful, but it created that feeling because I just always knew that somebody else needed them more or something. So I didn't need to be that one to add to the burden or to the trouble or, just like whatever. So I always like figured it out. And on one hand, it's made me a very strong person. But yeah, I feel like now in my adult life, I constantly feel like my feelings aren't valid or appreciated or even heard because I'm not the type that's like emotional and sad.
You're not as
like,
open with it.
No, but see, I wouldn't even say that. I'm pretty fucking open.
Rather, when you do open up about it, people have seen you be so independent that they're like, this can't be real.
Yeah. Even the times that I've like in relationships and I'm like, oh, well, I'm sad or this hurt me. And they're like, you don't get hurt that much. You're not like hurt easily. So like, it's not even like.
I have a friend like that where she's like, people don't take my emotions seriously. And I'm like, well, because you always seem fine. And she's like, seem is like the operative word.
It is the operative word. I like to portray and seem fine because I don't want to be a victim. And I I don't need your sympathy in that sense, but if you actually like listen to me and hear me,
Yeah.
you could hear that I too have problems that I deal with,
for
or
sure.
insecurities, or, you know, just like whatever kind of shit like that. And I went from people telling me like, you'll be fine and you always figure it out, or everything works out for you, or whatever. So I can never have a fucking problem because like everything works out for me.
So how dare you even say? Yeah. Okay, so going back to childhood then, we always ask about your first time coming. Was it early in life?
I'm
Do you
not.
remember the first time you came?
I think I remember the first time I came.
Okay.
I've never been into like jacking off. It's not really my thing. So
Wow.
that wasn't how I came first. My first time coming was like sex.
Stop.
Yeah.
How old?
13, maybe like just turned 14.
Okay. And was it with somebody who had already had sex?
Yeah, she had had sex before.
Okay. Did she initiate? Did you initiate? Like, did you know what you were?
I knew like that was the intention or like the goal as a young high school boy, you know. I definitely didn't think that's like what was gonna happen. We were hanging out and then like making out, and I came from like Catholic school, and I mean we're bad in Catholic school, but it was also just like I didn't think people were doing that much per se. And then this girl had already had sex, so she was definitely the more experienced one in that, and was just very into me. So I didn't have to like try too hard to kind of make it happen. We just got to that point. One thing led to another. My first time having sex, her grandma was in the other room. We were in her bedroom.
It's a classic how come experience.
Yes. We were in her bedroom, and her grandma she's like a Latin girl. Her grandma religious, and, you know, just like most Latin families are. So there's like Jesus and Mary pictures everywhere. And there was a Mary framed right above her bed. And during sex, that photo frame fell down and cracked me in the...
Wait, did you ever see the second season of Fleabag?
Yeah.
You know when they're like heavily making out, her and Hot Priest, and then that photo of Jesus falls on the floor, like to stop them from having sex, and he goes, I love when he does that.
Yes. It's funny because when we talk about that, I know Hot Priest and know him now for a few years, and he's very fun and very nice. And I have this whole like other perception of that show now that I know Hot Priest.
Yeah, that's so funny. Well, do you see my little headphones there? They're from Quinn, which is a audio porn like site.
Okay.
And he just did a few months ago like a recording for them, but like for women.
Hot.
So hot.
He's very fun, and he has a sort of like a presence and assertiveness that I find very attractive. So like I could see that working.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
And
Also,
an accent.
something I've been thinking about lately, him and Jonathan Bailey, like since, I don't know when this is going to come out, but Wicked has just come out at this point, and everybody's thirsting for Jonathan Bailey.
Yep.
And I've just been thinking about how like bad I feel for men in Hollywood that are still closeted or like came from earlier generations and like were told either by themselves or like somebody in their camp or like society at large, like you can't be like a queer man in the public eye because you're not going to have like a big female fan base. Nobody's going to like cast you as like a leading romantic man.
Yeah.
And like now we're all obsessed. I'm only thirsting after gay men.
Well, but we'll dive in more to that too.
Yeah.
Because you're only thirsting after gay men because you have your man. So you're not necessarily looking.
No. Even during Spring Awakening, when it first came out, I was like obsessed with Jonathan Groff.
Okay. I mean, maybe you love gay men.
I do.
You know, that's a thing. Sadly, I feel like it is still kind of a thing because although Jonathan Bailey is having like an amazing career right now and year, we'll see after these roles of sorts, like what that continues as. And hopefully, I mean, he pulls off gay, straight, whatever, so it does work for him. But there is that kind of idea that like, if you're so gay publicly, it's going to be hard to convince them later that you're like that heartthrob role or that like sexy, seductive man that they want in like that straight role. Because now they know you. It's easier for them to go from...
He's already done that thing with Matt Bomer.
No, I know. But
Yeah.
that all kind of came out around the same time. Now we'll see after that, like, Bridgerton and Wicked are very gay straight roles, or very like, you know, so that's not.
I just think that's what most women like.
No, I agree.
And most like cis hetero, like straight, you know, like guys for a while, they were the ones being like, oh, nobody will like you if you're this. And it's like, no, we love that.
We do love that, but there's even girls that love that would then be like, if I'm like, but are you attracted to that person and would actually have sex with them? Like, all things aside, it'd be like,
yeah, maybe I'm coming at it from a bisexual perspective as well.
There is. Through my bisexual, gay awakening, all of that, and girls that I knew or girls that I used to sleep with that then found out that were accepting and very cool about it were no longer necessarily like as attracted to me in that sense. I could still be hot to them, whatever, but like, do they want me to fuck them still?
Weren't trying
Like,
to hook
no,
up anymore.
because they're like, you get fucked.
Yeah.
So like, how are you going to still fuck me the same way like I want to get fucked if like, you know, you're thinking about getting fucked.
You're
and
like,
it's like, well,
just as well and fuck
yeah,
you.
like that's not how it works, and probably better because now I know
how it feels,
what that is, and you know, but it does create that sort of thing. But I'd be lying if I said that I didn't have that in me a little bit too. I don't want to get fucked by like a more feminine guy. I like a masculine guy to fuck me. If I'm fucking them, then it's a little I'm a little less like picky in that sense, you know, but like, and maybe it's because of bi, or I used to sleep with girls more, that it like fucks with my mind. If a more feminine guy is trying to like dominate me and fuck me, I'm like, this doesn't feel right, let alone like it's not hot to me as much, you know?
Yeah.
So that's just in there.
And it could be just a preference, or it could be like, that's it for now, or yeah, we'll see. But your journey has been a long one. So you started with this older woman and doing mostly massage for her, or? Mostly
massage. She would suck my dick. There was like a few times of eating her out, but like I didn't really like eating out, nor was I good at it, because I've always had just like a really short tongue and hated doing it. And I get like claustrophobic easily, so like it was just not my thing. I was not good at it. I don't eat ass all that much for that same reason.
Okay.
But it started off as that. I used to call her
Let me
Mrs.
see your
X.
tongue. Oh my God, it is little.
I've had surgery to make it longer.
No way. When?
I cut that thing from the bottom of your tongue.
Yeah.
It's called a frenectomy.
Yeah.
I had that done like 3 years ago, I think, 3 or 4 years ago. And
for work, or like?
No, just because tongue-tied is an actual medical like diagnosis. And I always thought that was just some shit people said when you like slip on your words. But tongue-tied is when your tongue is short, that bottom thing like hits your teeth or whatever, and it fucks up your words because you can't like, I don't know, move your tongue as much as you need to like say the letters.
No way.
So I was like at this orgy once talking to a friend that's a dentist, and I was telling him about this situation, and he was like, oh, we do a surgery for that. And I always thought that was just like the thing Kiss did to make his tongue like longer, and he was like, well, no, that's like an actual, like insurance will cover it because it's an actual thing.
Crazy. Okay, and then a bunch of you who are listening to this and think that that's a way to get out of oral, no,
I have a really short tongue. Yeah. And I also like to please people, so I wouldn't get out of it if I could do it better. It's just like, for me to put my tongue even the littlest bit in a hole.
Your whole face is in there.
The whole face. My nose is like smushed. I can no longer breathe. I'm like gasping for air just to get my tongue like maybe a couple centimeters like inside of you. So it's not worth it for anybody, trust me.
Okay. Okay, so then you had that one client, and then...
Well, I had her, and she was like the only one. I wasn't necessarily doing it much. I also kind of, like at this point, now had a girlfriend, so I had stopped seeing her. You know, like when I was with my girlfriend, I was trying to be very good and monogamous and all those things. And then when she and I kind of started having our like breakup start, I went back to the situation and posted again on Craigslist. And this is kind of around when Instagram started also. So I feel like I was being an exhibitionist on Instagram and getting a lot of comments from guys.
You were.
So that started sparking different interests.
Do you know when we were started becoming friends, and then I saw your Instagram, I almost felt like I was at such a place in like my inhibition that I was like, am I supposed to be seeing this stuff like as a friend?
I mean, I've a lot of my friends have that same
Okay.
had that same feeling, at least early on there too, because it was like, well,
And now I'm like, go off. Like,
Well,
we love it.
yeah. Then I'd have friends be like, well, I can't like that photo of you.
Yeah.
And
I'm like, I
well,
can't like his pubes on Maine.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, I mean, I get it, but also like, why not? Who cares? You just be supportive.
Okay.
But anyways, I would get DM'd and comments from guys, and I would respond in my mind because I was just being polite to everyone. But obviously, there was like a little bit more, and through that interest kind of happening, and then I posted on Craigslist like another ad of massage kind of situation, and I got hit up by this guy, and this was when I was still kind of doing modeling as well. So the guy hit me up wanting to get a massage, but he told me he was like a casting director and he was really interested in this, so he was going to take like some photos of me when I came over there and blah blah blah. And anyways, I went over and I met him in this hotel room, which was already like sketchy.
Yeah.
And I got in there and he looked creepy. Nothing really felt professional about it, but I was still dumb, young and naive and needed money, so whatever. And I went in there and he had 2 pairs of underwear on the bed. And he was like, try these on and we'll take some digitals of you, which is a thing they do for modeling, sure. And the underwear just had like pee stains or cum stains or like something.
Oh.
And I was like, well, I'm not going to try those on. I was like, I have my underwear on, so we
Yeah.
could just like look at that. And he was like, okay, great. And he was like, I don't know if it's the right fit for the job this time, but, and I was like, but what? And he threw out $700 on the table and he was like, but if you want to give me a massage, we can, figure something out another way. And I was like, well, part of my mind is like, I want the money. Part of it is I don't want to get the job by like doing this. And then again, I'm like, but I do want the job. So, whatever. And then in the back of my mind, I'm like, is there even really a job?
Is there even? Yeah.
So anyways, the money's like on the floor and
He
I'm
can't
like,
even afford clean underwear.
yeah, well,
No,
I'm sure
that was
he
more
can't
of
afford
a
it. That was
kink.
like that was a kink. But the money's on the bed and I'm looking at it and I'm trying to decide. And he's like, I'll add 3 more if you let me suck your dick. And I was like, okay, fuck it. So I got $1,000. He sucked my dick. There was no modeling job, and I never heard from him again. And that's the first of like a guy situation that sparked
More
sparked
curiosity.
more. It made me
Yeah.
less like, oh my god, what is that? And I was like, well, I've done that, so like let's try this.
And this guy is like not your type.
Oh no, this
You
guy
don't
was,
like anything about the situation.
No, I mean this guy was like old.
So how do you bring yourself to arise
Well,
and come to the occasion?
Well, because money turns me on.
Okay.
And I can perform like in the moment. It's a job at that point. So I was like, okay, whatever, in the moment. And I mean, I was a young, like, kid at that point, 25 still,
yeah.
where you could touch me in a way that would get me hard even if I wasn't into it.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, that was easy. I closed my eyes and just didn't watch it happen. And I left with $1,000. I went and bought a bottle of tequila and got real drunk.
And do you look back on that experience as like something that you would do again, or?
Yeah, I don't really
Okay.
live life in regret. And I think that, like, although sex work obviously is, like, looked down upon in many situations, I think I've met a lot of people, done a lot, and learned a lot through doing that.
Yeah.
And again, have done it at least in what I feel is somewhat of a smart way and never let it, like, control my life. I used it to better my life.
Did you ever feel unsafe?
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, I think like I have a worry of sorts before I get to someone's house, because you just never know when you hear stories and see movies and like whatever. But I'm very big on reading people's energy, and there have been like 2 when I got there and just felt like, I don't know if this is the right match, but I wasn't like scared. I was just like, I just don't feel good about it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go. For the most part, though, like everyone's been really chill or really nice. I've made friends off of it that are still in my life.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. And recently, we're just going to jump ahead in the timeline for a little bit and then we'll go back and stuff. But you had a birthday. Yeah. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And you guys, I didn't mention this, but we met through our friend Tim, and you guys all know who Tim is. Tim was telling me that a friend of yours threw you a bit of a party.
Oh, so Tim talked to you a couple days ago. because I've told no one about that yet, aside from them.
Okay, well, we can cut it.
No, I don't
Okay.
care. Yeah, a friend of mine threw an orgy for me here, and there was 5 other guys, 6 including me, and I forget now, but it was like 48 or 49 inches, like total or something is what I sent them in the text message, and that's because there were 4 really nice big ones. I'm a size queen. And then there was one that was like average, and then there was one that just shouldn't have been there.
Okay.
But
a very nice person, of course.
A very nice person. He was actually very nice and probably like did better than the other ones because he knew he had to, you know? Whereas the big dick ones,
they're just swinging
they just have
around.
a big dick and they're just like, yeah, let's just do this. This guy was like, let me make you feel good.
Yeah. Okay, wait. But I have to, first of all, I think it's the nicest birthday present.
It's kind of a tradition for mine, but it is a very nice birthday present. Yeah. It's like the 3rd time that friends have thrown me like a birthday orgy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And how does it work? Like, how do they know who to invite? Like, who you would see as a gift being there? Like, who would be down to do that?
They know I'm a size queen, so that's what they were looking for. And that's like a lead. They know I'm into more
mask.
See, I hate using like feminine or masculine, but like I like you know, like a rugged and a scruffy and you know, like more tough, I suppose, or like built or something. I don't know, strong. All those words.
Someone who can lift the legs.
Yes. Someone who I feel like if they're dominating me, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Not like I can push you out, like get off me.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. And that's kind of where like why I'm not into the more feminine guys, because I'm like, don't tell me to like be submissive and like I don't know, it just doesn't track with me. It doesn't turn me on. To each their own, you know, whatever. They know I'm into taller guys, like around my height or more. So there were like prerequisites of sorts, and then just trust in them that they would pick good ones. And for the most part, they did well.
And have you ever met any of the guys that showed up?
At this one, no.
Cool.
I mean, aside from like my friend that I knew.
Yeah. Wait, so your friend was involved?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Gay friend, you know. A sleep together friend.
A sleep together friend. Yeah. See, I just don't come from this world. I know it exists. I hear about it all the time, but I'm always just thinking about like...
I didn't come from this world either.
I know.
I have this running joke with Sarah that gays were born that way, obviously. Like that's the thing. I was not. So that's kind of my running joke, because like the things don't necessarily all apply to me. With Sarah, I like opened the door for her the other day and she was like, what are you doing? She looked at like the car door. She looked at me so crazy because I walked to the passenger side with her and she was like, what? I like leaned in. I was like, I was opening your door. And she's like, people don't do that anymore, especially not the gays. And I turned to her and I was like, well, I wasn't born this way. Yeah. So like I grew up different. I'm still like the man role in a sense of sorts.
Yeah.
You know?
The traditional.
So yeah, like I don't know. It was all like a learned experience for me, especially this world when I first jumped into gay world and only knowing like the little bit that I knew about it, what I had seen on TV and stuff. And I just was like, I thought everybody slept with everybody and that was just like a thing and, you know, whatever. So I was like, well, I'm going to jump in the deep end.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to submerge myself into this, I have to start sleeping with everybody so I can have some sort of experience.
Yeah. Okay. And then how does it work, orgies, on like a more technical level? Because I've been to sex parties where it's like a big place where people are having sex in different corners or whatever, but I've never
sex parties aren't the same
or seen an orgy. Yeah.
Sex parties aren't the same. For the most part, people aren't really doing stuff like with each other. They're just there to kind of be in the same area as people doing stuff.
Or to watch.
Yeah, like that kind of thing. An orgy is everything's happening everywhere all at once. Yep. My favorite.
And there's lots of bagels.
There's lots of bagels for
lots
sure.
Lots of holes.
Lots of bagels and lots of sausages. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of, for the most part, I think that orgy groups are all relatively curated to the idea that like everyone's kind of into everyone there, and they try to have a good, even amount of like tops and bottoms or verse people so that everybody would have somebody to do things with. and we're men and gay, so it'll be like you're having sex and all of a sudden somebody stands in front of you with their hard dick and now you're sucking a dick too, and then someone else comes and stands over here and then you're jerking that dick off while you're sucking a dick and getting fucked, and then like it just kind of builds up. Or
is there
like
music at the orgy?
Oh, for sure.
Okay. Are there beds at the orgy?
There's well, it depends on where the orgy is,
right?
But yes, there's always like a bed or a sort of like
soft area for knees.
Yeah, like a mattressy thing of sorts. Most of the orgies are at people's houses. So it's like, yeah, their bedroom, the couches, the living room, like shit like that. I've been to a couple at like play rooms of sorts. And those have like fuck benches and like swings and slings and, all kinds of things of that. I went to one after my birthday orgy. This thing called GBU, which is like a college frat house themed orgy of sorts, and it was like silver night, so they had daddies that were into college frat boy types of things, and I'm more into the daddies and the college frat boys, but like why not just have all of it there to choose from?
Wait, is this a club or like what is it?
It's a party, like an event.
Who pays the rent?
Well, the hundreds of guys that go to it to fuck. You pay to get into the party. And it was like at a 2-story loft in Midtown.
But it's always at the same place or no? It like moves
gone to
around.
It once. This is my first time.
Okay.
But they do it here. They do it in LA. They do it in other places. So yeah, I think it moves around. They do it in Brooklyn.
How does one find out about?
Well, when you're in the world of going to orgies and things of that nature,
you'll get an invite.
Yeah, word of mouth. My friend saw that I was here and he was like, oh my God, do you want to go to this party? And I was like,
okay,
I guess I'll check it out. And I had just left a hookup house where I didn't have as much fun as I was hoping for. So I was like, well, fuck it. I'll just go to this party. It was only a few blocks away and I walked over to it. And my friend said he was going to it at a certain time and that it was supposed to be like the best night because the day was like the daddy night. So he knows that I'm into that. And I got there maybe like 1 a.m., 1:30 or something like that. And I was number 349 of the guys that were in there just all fucking and doing shit.
They have a little...
They write your number on your arm.
What?
Because there's like a closed check and you get like a ticket for all that. So they have it all numbered of like who's going in or whatever. So I was 349 just written right on my shoulder.
Community organizing, you guys.
Yeah, we're really good at that.
It's really crazy. Yeah. I always brag about the fact that there's a group of comedian women that we do a clothing swap every year. And we all bring the clothes that we don't want to wear anymore. And then you take whatever you want. And then we all donate it at the end of the day. And I'm like, look at us community organizing. But this is...
we kind of do that in the orgy world. It's like you bring your friend that you know is like fun, good at sex, good at the orgies, but you're not that into it anymore. Or now you're too close. So you're like, well, I'll bring him and he can fuck some other people. And it's like that boyfriend swap from like Sex and the City.
Yeah.
You bring the one that you break up.
And that little guy is like, you brought me here to break up with me? And he's like, at least let me fuck you once.
And he put in the effort.
And he did really well.
A little effort goes a long way. So that's my tagline.
Is there ever, or was there ever a point in the orgy where everyone was involved?
Well, an orgy like this was focused on me. That was the idea.
Okay.
So like not 100% of the time because like I'm tired.
Yeah.
But majority was focused on me. And I'm a go-getter and deep end type. So, like I can handle more than one at a time.
Yeah, I know. How did you work up to that? Or is it even working up? Or is it something that you're always just like craving more?
I like a challenge, so I'm always craving more.
Okay.
So in that, sure, you work up to it. But I started, how would I say that? I never needed to start with like a smaller dick type of thing to work my way up to a bigger dick. I've always been a size queen, so that's part of what attracted me to it in the first place. So I wasn't like, let me get with a guy with a small dick because that's not hot to me. So I started off with already like a good size and then worked my way up from that. Okay. I also learned early in my gay life, and especially of when I started to bottom, that the smaller dicks kind of hurt more.
Why?
Because your ass has like a 3-inch like I don't know the technical term for it.
There's like the space in between.
Yeah, like the entrance area,
yeah.
The sphincter or something like that, where that's not comfortable. Like getting fingered in your ass is not the most enjoyable of experiences.
For you.
So like for me, I'm only talking about me. Everything I say is just me.
Yeah.
I don't like a finger in there because like that's just the area where it feels kind of awkward and a little uncomfortable, and there's no like pleasure for me yet. So a smaller dick stays in that world or comes out like too often. There is no just like you're in and now you're in and we can enjoy it.
Yeah.
There's a constant like, okay, this feels good, and then it's out again, and I'm like, ow, and then it's got to cross
it's
that
like
threshold.
The point of no return.
Yeah. So like a bigger dick, I can feel like, okay, it's in there. And yes, that might hurt as well because it's like big and it gets there. But then your body adjusts to it, and then it's like joy, pleasure of it.
I'm so happy we're having this conversation because I've always wondered that when people are size queens. And I'm like, okay, I understand it for like a vagina, because either it needs to be thick enough or something, or it needs to go and hit that G spot or whatever. And I'm like, but I've always thought, oh, it would be nicer to have something smaller back there, but not necessarily.
I think a lot of people do feel that way. I think a lot of people are afraid of size and are afraid of like the unknown. And since the ass isn't necessarily like where things are supposed to go up, you're also like, well, I can't put that big of a thing up there, so like they have this kind of like thought going through their mind. But like our mutual friend, for example, he lives more in the fear side of it because he's never done it, so he thinks it's gonna like hurt. And with that mentality, and if I think this little one's gonna hurt, then obviously that big one's gonna hurt much more. And no matter how much I've tried to explain that it's like that sudden hurt and then that hurt is gone, versus a small one constantly hurting you. And I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? I'm not even like enjoying.
Well, also it makes a lot of sense, like in the times that I've had anal, when the person is inserting it, I've liked it less. But when I'm sitting on it and it's just staying there, I like it way more.
Yeah, all of a sudden you're like, okay, I can move here.
I'm a little in charge of this.
That's good.
Yeah.
The penetration anally is not fun.
Yeah.
Unless, for me.
Unless you like that.
Yeah. And unless you've already been like fucking for a while and are that loosened up, and then it's just like, okay, in and out and like, great. But if you're at all a little tense or tight or new or whatever, that in and out is the thing you don't like. So like every time it goes in, and at this point, I've had everything up my butt, and I still don't like the in and out moment.
Name things.
Well, not like random objects, but I mean, I've had like...
Well, because you say everything, and I'm like, what?
Well, like everything on a body.
And everything on a body. Okay. So you told me one day that you had just come from a client who wanted to be like fisted. And I just saw a video recently where somebody was like, you're not an adult unless you realize that fisted doesn't mean this, it means this.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah. So fisting itself is like a...
And if you're listening, I'm like, put all of your fingers touching together. So that kind of looks like you're making
it's like
a
pinching
duck,
your things together.
Yeah.
Yes. And that kind of shape. And even that, you probably go in with just the 4 fingers and the thumb is like kind of back here situation. It's not a this.
It's not a punch.
Punch fisting is part of fisting world.
Okay.
Not everyone is into that. I fucking hate that.
Okay.
There's also just nothing sensual to me or intimate about that. I'm not a punching bag. Like the times I have had a fist in me, like I still want it to be... I want
gentle.
to be, not necessarily,
or taking
but
care.
I want to be fucked
Yeah.
with your fist. I don't want to just be like, oh, let's make your hole big and let me punch it and as much as I can.
Yeah.
You know, like that's not hot to me in any sort of aspect. I don't need to just feel like my hole is getting bigger, and I don't need to feel like you're punching me for pleasure. Like, I don't know.
Have you punch fisted another person?
Once,
Not
me
for you.
as the fister, I'm not really into.
Okay.
I don't get off on it. I also have very big hands, and I forget to breathe when I'm fisting people. I think I'm just in such shock and like worried that if I'm hurting them or not, that I fainted once from like not breathing. I was like,
my God. Guys, breathing is so important.
It really is.
If you can't breathe while giving head and you can't breathe while fisting, something's going to go wrong.
Actually, it's funny that you bring that up though. Breathing is a thing for me when I'm ultra focused. I stop breathing.
Me too.
I'm like holding my breath and doing whatever. So like I have an issue with breathing.
Yeah, no, there'll be times that I'm like really stressed, especially remember when I was like really combative online?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I would be sitting next to Ben and holding my breath, and he would go, "Who are you messaging, and do you know them personally?" Because I'd be writing some diatribe and holding my breath because I'm really focused on it. And he's just like, first of all, breathe and think of what you're doing.
Yeah. Breathing helps a lot. It
Yeah.
really does. There's many times when I have to remind myself, and then it does calm you or just, clear your mind of sorts.
I think that's why you like smoking too.
It could be, yeah.
Because that's the thing, at least for me, that
It's
and
like
I'm
breath
still
work.
vaping. It's like it reminds you to take in like a deep breath.
Yeah, it's a form of breath work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never thought of it that way, but yeah, actually.
And then you hold it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you blow it out.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's why I don't fist too much. I mean, it also just like in that world, I'm not that much of like aggressive dominating. So like the fister role doesn't turn me on or suit me all that much. When I'm into getting fisted, it's because mentally I want to be submissive and be dominated and be whatever. So that's part of that world. And I only want someone who's like a man and like older than me to like do it, because then I feel like I'm supposed to do it kind of thing.
Do you ever like a dominant woman?
I don't think I've really experienced much of a dominant woman.
Okay.
Like an assertive woman that, kind of can
Knows
take
what they
charge a
want
little.
and-
Sure,
yeah.
yes, but never just like a dominant woman.
Okay.
But I think I play that role when I was with women. I get turned on by being a little like assertive or aggressive with women. Actually, when I'm topping guys too, I like you to be able to take it. That's what turns me on. And I know that like it might hurt or things might be tough. So for me, the turn on is when I see that in your eyes and know you still want it. Because that's how I am when I'm bottoming. I'm like, yeah, the big dick fucking hurts, but I'm going to bite my lip and take it because that's hot. And I want them to be that way too.
Okay.
So I try to push the limits to see how far.
So at your party, was it, because you said, I think you took 45 inches. Was that what you were wanting? Were most of the people to be dominating you?
Yeah, that was like a party for me to bottom.
Okay.
I was in like slut bottom mode. And when I'm in that mode, I'm no longer like, I want to top you also. So I get very in a mindset, and that's kind of what I'm going in there for.
And we were talking about breath work and opening up. How much of a role do poppers play in parties, in your life in general, or with clients?
Poppers are present in all three.
Okay.
Parties for sure, they're always there. It's always like an option. For me, I enjoy poppers. I like using them. They give me fucking horrible headaches. So I try to not do them as much. And now with years of experience and practice and whatever, like I can handle things better and know that a lot of it is just like breath work and relaxing.
Yeah.
So actually one of the guys who like first started showing me fisting of sorts taught me that. He kept trying to tell me like, you don't need poppers to get fisted. And I was like, you're fucking crazy. And now I kind of understand it. I'll like do it to start, and then I can just like enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
And then maybe I'll hit poppers again.
They
Like,
get you past the point of no return.
yes.
Yeah.
And then, depending on if I want to push my limits, I'll be like, okay, let me hit the poppers.
Should we explain poppers for people who might not know what they are?
Poppers are, I think, technically like a VHS cleaner or something like that.
Really?
That's like what they're marketed as. But poppers are something that you can kind of inhale. And
It's a liquid that
Yeah.
comes in a little bottle.
You like smell it, and for like 10 seconds, you just feel like you feel warm
like, wah,
and
wah,
tingly
wah, wah,
and
wah,
like
wah.
relaxed and loose and horny. So in those like 10 to 30 seconds is when you have to take advantage and take the dick, let it penetrate you, go a little deeper, push that limit. And then when that wears off, now you can handle things to that point.
A popular brand of poppers you guys might have heard of is Rush.
Yeah.
And Troye Sivan has a song all about Rush, and his music video for it literally sounds like
Yeah, I think the song is kind of
a
based
day
on
in
like
Christian's life.
yeah. I think that song is kind of based more so it's like that feeling that poppers do give you. He's talking about getting that from someone, like a person, individual or whatever.
Yeah.
But
or like a bunch of people and just like being in this party mode and like everyone's like rubbing on you and kissing and like making you feel hot and like you're wearing stuff that makes you feel hot.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. He's another one. Very into Troye Sivan.
Me too, actually. And I like his journey that he's going through right now and like his career and his music and stuff.
He put out a TikTok where he was just like, I noticed a lot of women have been like hitting on me and like my DMs and stuff. And he's like, maybe I should try it. And I was like,
I'm all for everyone trying everything.
Yeah.
I think if we don't need to put labels on ourselves and whatever, then nothing has to be that crazy of a thing for you to like try.
Yeah.
It's just something that you were interested in and then maybe you liked it, maybe you didn't. Less labels, the better. And it's so funny that in the LGBTQ community or whatever, we don't want to be labeled by others, but we have so many labels in our world.
So many.
And that's just like so wild to me.
But I think people want that. Like, I understand both, where it's like, I don't think there should be labels sometime where I think it's like, you shouldn't have to come out, right?
I agree.
Like, you should just like be yourself and live your life.
I should just bring you the person that I'm dating and be like, oh, look, this is who I love.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay.
But then to another part of it, I understand people want to categorize people because they want to know who's available to them. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. I mean, yes, I get that, but I don't think it's necessary because without knowing that, then you're just open to more people being available to you, you know?
Yeah.
Without this sort of like predisposition of like who you're allowed to be interested in.
Totally. And also just because you fall into someone's category doesn't mean they're necessarily going to be down for you.
Right.
So you might as well just like feel it out with that person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Each is situational, so you like never know until it happens.
It's even though like with people who, like I have a single guy friend he's always like, I never know like if girls like are in a relationship or not. And I'm like, ask them.
Yeah, it's not difficult. People suck at communication though.
Yeah.
And people are afraid to ask questions these days. And through social media and through information through so many other sources, they feel like they can find out on their own without asking you.
Yeah.
So like, I don't need to ask you. I'll go on her Instagram and see if she posts with anybody like more times than others. Or you know, like, and they're making their own deductions and now they've figured it out. Now they're telling somebody else like, oh, she's got a boyfriend, you know, like, and it just goes that way. And none of it was true.
And even if it is true, it's like, okay, so you still don't know like what your chances are. Like you have to ask the question. And if you are bad at that level of communication, like you're not going to be great in bed either.
Yeah.
But with this friend, I'm always like, well, maybe you should just simply say, is your boyfriend here tonight? Because then it's not like, do you have a boyfriend?
Yeah.
Which is more like an
I kind of like that.
accusation.
Like, would your boyfriend be mad if I was talking to you?
Yeah. Oh, that's even better.
I think, that is kind of good.
Yeah.
Because
That
they're
should
going
be
to be like, no, but also like,
maybe.
and also like, I respect that you asked me that kind of.
Yeah.
It's like still flirty though. I'd be like, I don't have a boyfriend that would get mad.
But if I did, he'd be pissed.
Yes.
Okay. Do you think that you have explored more sexually, I don't know how to phrase this, with clients or with people that you're like, not actually, but like
people?
With people, yeah.
I've explored more with people, but maybe some of the things that I explored were introduced to me through clients of sorts.
So
Just
more
like
first times with
just like
people
things
asking
that
for
they might be
specific
into
stuff.
that like I would have never thought of or whatever that maybe I later explored, I suppose. But more so just through normal people, because there does have to be a level of comfort to be open to like trying at least the more extreme things. I've done a lot of like role play exploration with clients and that kind of thing because
Like
that's what they
what?
want. I mean, a lot of the times they're into like the coach player role play or like the sub dom role, the like daddy stepson situations of whatever, the maid of sorts.
If it's something like
the
a coach,
student.
player, or maid or whatever, do they have costumes for that?
No, it's
It's
just
just
talk.
acting.
We're naked doing the exact same
It's
thing we'd be
improv.
doing, if not, it's just like, come suck my dick as my son-in-law. And you're like,
Okay.
How does the son-in-law suck dick? I don't know. Like, okay, here we go. So
Poorly, and you have to instruct him.
right. So like, I don't think much changes, but it's just like that idea of sorts. A lot of the things that I've been introduced to were not for me as well. I've had somebody who wanted me to play with his belly button while he jerked off. He didn't even want me to jerk him off.
What?
He just wanted me to play with his belly button. And
What kind of belly button
an
did he have? An
He
innie.
just wanted my finger in his belly button. And
That's
like,
so funny.
it's so funny.
Because
It's
all
so
I want to do is play with Ben's innie, and he hates it.
It's so simple of a thing to do.
Yeah.
But it was like one of the worst clients to do, because I was like,
Because you want...
I don't know. I want to be like doing something.
Yeah.
'cause it feels more like a job and I can like get it done into this. I was like, I can't even do this differently. I'm like, it's just like a finger in your, and he wasn't like trying to get off fast either. He wanted me to just sit there with my finger in him for like an hour playing with his belly button while he was like slightly jerking himself off. And I was just like, well, this is too much free time for my mind to start overthinking about what's happening or like
He
what
just
I'm
wants
doing.
a hot
or
guy who looks like John Stamos
to just be there.
to
Rub
have
his
it-
belly.
Yeah, have
button.
his
I
little
go,
finger in his
yeah,
belly button.
Yeah.
I need to know how he figured that out.
I mean, when I'm like sitting on the couch, I kind of like I mess
Yeah.
with my belly button of sorts, but it's never been like a turn on for me per se. So like I don't know where that can spark. But
My equivalent would be like it's easier to come sometimes if you push your hand like into your stomach and kind of like pull up.
Okay.
But that's for like
He
clit
was-
exposure.
And he wasn't asking for any of that.
Yeah.
It wasn't like rough at all. It was literally just like, yeah, I was like,
just dancing around.
and
the
I just
belly
kept
button.
being like, this is all
Is
you want me
this
to
good?
do? Yeah. And he was like, yeah, it's great. And I was like, are you sure? And I kept trying to like get him off or like touch him faster, and he would slap my hand away. And it was like, don't, just the belly button. And I was like,
Okay.
okay, here we are. but yeah, my first experience with putting my foot inside of somebody was with a client. My first sort of like dom, like actual dom BDSM type of stuff.
We're not going over the foot. Did you have to
Oh no, we
have a
can go back.
pedicure?
Yeah, well, he gave me one
Great. Okay.
and then sat on it.
Amazing.
And I was like, that was a first for me. Uh-huh. Those are thoughts that I'd never even crossed my mind, you know?
And you've had a foot up as well.
I've had a toe.
A toe.
A
Okay.
foot. Nothing turns me on about it.
Okay.
Like, it's not sexual anymore. That's just novelty.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I don't need you to put a foot up my ass. That's why I'm also like, I haven't just put random objects in my butt to see if I could.
For sure.
There still needs to be like a sexual factor to it.
Yeah.
Someone's foot in your ass. I'm like, that's like, I'm gonna put my foot in your ass. That's a negative thing, not like a positive. So, you know, but again, to each their own. And he paid well. So sure, I tried it.
Are you still finding them via Craigslist?
No, Craigslist
No.
stopped doing that a long time
Yeah.
ago. But also, I moved on to different sites of
Okay.
sorts, different outlets for that.
Are you allowed to say what those sites are?
Yeah, there's like a Rent Masseur and Rent Men. Both of them, well, obviously Rent Men is like more sexually focused. Rent Masseur is also, but under the guise of like you want a massage as well, but it's probably like an erotic massage, sensual, something of those natures. But those are the ones that I like had started using and kind of got clients through there. Honestly, like at this point in my life, like those accounts are still there. I hardly do it anymore and don't really need to, just because like work and everything else is good for me. So like it's not necessary as much. But being that I've done it, I'm not closed off to doing it if it's a situation that I'm comfortable doing.
Totally. Do you have an OnlyFans?
I do. I go back and forth with doing it.
Yeah.
I haven't posted to it in a long time. So right now I think they're like threatening to close the account because like I haven't really done much. And for the last like year and a half, I had like scheduled posts and then never went back on there. And then 6 months ago, I hired like a management team that was kind of doing it for me. But I just kind of got to the point where like I wasn't enjoying it as much as like I wanted to, I suppose. I started doing OnlyFans when OnlyFans started. They beta tested it with me and, you know, others. So I was in the first phases of it and figuring out what it even was and how to do it and how to make money off it or whatever. So I started off with feeling like I had to do too much and just post too much. And then I stopped doing it because I was like, I don't want to do that. And then I came back to like, okay, well, I'll just do it solo and kind of like, you know, whatever, jerk off things and sure. And then that got boring to me too. And then I stopped. And then a couple years ago did porn. And when I decided to do porn, it was like, well, I'll just go all out, you know? And I, for like 10, 11 months, I think I was just like gung-ho doing the most and everything because I'm just a hustler type. So I was like, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it. And then I lost like my mojo.
Really?
Just like was not turned on by anything anymore. I'm still like trying to figure that out and get it back. 2 or 3 years ago, I feel like is when I had that sort of like switch flip off. And then I didn't know like what to do. And casual sex was a lot more fun to me before as well. And granted, I'm also older now, so I'm sure that is a factor. But like the OnlyFans world started off as like amateur porn. We're filming ourselves, but we actually like want to have sex and happen to film. When it became more of a job for everyone, it's now just porn. But porn on like this weird level because it's not professional, like with a team and with the whole thing. So it still has this like intimate feeling to it. But then also they might not actually be that into you per se.
Yeah.
Or like into the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we're like faking to be into it. We're making it seem like amateur porn, but it's not even amateur porn anymore. So I'm like, I don't know. It just lost any sort of interest. And then when I had people like hitting me up on Grindr, Scruff, any of those things, people that I had like politely turned down already multiple times or whatever, who now saw that I have OnlyFans, and their first messages to me are like, well, I'm down to film, so if you want to like hook up. And I'm like, well, I guess since you're down to film, it's going to negate every other time I told you I wasn't into it.
Yeah.
But like, oh, let's film, you know, like, sure. And I don't even get like a fucking hello now. It's just like, film?
Yeah.
And I'm like, the fuck? Like, no.
Yeah.
So that really just like turned me off to a lot of situation. And the people, whoever followed me on OnlyFans, thank you. And like, I appreciate all that. But they feel entitled to a lot
more
for the
content.
little bit that they actually pay for it.
Yeah.
And any of those people, if you ask them, you give me a fucking video of you fucking or getting fucked for the $10 that I charge you, they'd be like, fuck no. You know, like,
Totally.
I would never do that. Pay me $1 million, you know, type of thing.
Also, it's not going to have like the same relationship that you've built with like people that you're actually meeting up with.
Exactly.
And like, I feel like you're very about like actual human connection.
Yeah. Even if there's different levels of it, so it doesn't have to be like a long time knowing someone. I can find a connection with someone I just met and get off on that.
Yeah.
But there has to be a connection.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
I'm not just getting fucked to get fucked.
To get fucked and then put it out into the void.
Yeah.
And
then be told like, what else?
yeah.
What's next?
Yeah.
Who are you gonna fuck now? Like, yeah, no. I didn't like people feeling like they had some sort of control in that life of it. My slut sex life, I loved and I enjoyed, and that was nothing to do with them. I was just giving them a window into my life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like them being like, now we want to see this.
Yeah. The only times I've ever wanted to start an OnlyFans is like when I want to take pictures that I wouldn't put on main, but like you put them on main.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't even know how OnlyFans is still a thing. Twitter shows
Twitter
you
has great
everything.
porn.
Yeah. Twitter shows you everything, and I don't need to watch 30 minutes of a porn anyways. So I'm just like scrolling and I'm like, oh, dick pic, this is ass, like 30 seconds of a jerk off. Like, great. That's all I really fucking need. And
some of those threads are fucking wild.
yeah, very wild. And OnlyFans, like, I get bored easily too. So I'm like, even if I've never subscribed to anybody, but if there was somebody that like I was interested in, all I'd really need is 1 month to see a couple videos of you fucking, and like, okay, I'd rather see somebody else next month.
Yeah.
It's a very crazy, interesting world of OnlyFans.
It is an interesting world. They're trying to do different content now. They're trying to do like OnlyFans for comedy, OnlyFans for cooking. It's like,
well, I think that's kind of how it
Patreon.
started, and then Patreon came out.
Yeah.
OnlyFans, when they were beta testing it, wasn't necessarily sexual. It was like how you wanted to do
creators.
it.
Yeah.
And there used to be like some like Mexican grandma or something that would do like a recipe a week, and that was like her OnlyFans. And you know, so there's different outlets of sorts.
You early on were saying that you don't love to jack off.
No, I never do it.
Okay. So was that like also a thing that was difficult for OnlyFans?
Yes.
Because you don't like doing it.
I don't like jacking off for just myself. When I first started doing OnlyFans, like I like being on camera, and that's why I thought that I would like doing porn and stuff. But the camera will turn me on, so in that sense, like I can get off on that. When people started asking me for a jack off video, I no longer enjoyed doing it because I just like doing things off my own like free will, my own volition.
Yeah.
That's the word.
Yeah.
The moment someone tells me to do something, even if I wanted to do it, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, I have that too.
So jacking off was like never really... Jacking off is fucking frustrating for me 95% of the time. Because like I try to like imagine the scenario, I guess, like people do to get themselves off. And that doesn't work for me because my mind just starts thinking of all kinds of other shit. And porn, watching it doesn't quite turn me on because there's too much of a storyline. So I found that like... the times I do jack off, because you know sometimes you need to just like get off randomly, or when I kind of get my dick sucked, because that also doesn't do it that much for me either. I have to imagine or look at Twitter, because Twitter, it's like instant porn, so there's just like a bunch of different shit keeping my mind distracted, and then I imagine sucking dick.
Okay.
And that is what I have found might get me off in those moments when I'm not that turned on.
Okay. So a lot of the times that you are sucking dick, will you jack off as well?
Yeah, sucking dick is hot.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's no longer like jacking off to me.
No.
Just
totally.
jacking off because I'm like sucking dick and doing it.
No, this makes a lot of sense, because a lot of times, like when we'll all be hanging out, I feel like you'll be like, I have to go. And it's either for a client or like to just go hook up with somebody really quickly. Whereas like the rest of us, we've probably jacked off that day or we're going to do it that night, but you prefer to do it with another person.
Yeah. Yeah. Our mutual friend jacks off multiple times in a day.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't think of it
As
that way,
did I.
but that makes sense.
Yeah.
He'll get that urge out and I don't do it like that. So my urge, I'm like trying to figure out where I'm going to go do it. And I'll go hook up and then I'm come back.
Then you come back.
Yeah. And I'm like, now I'm here.
Yeah.
And not distracted. And you know, that's great.
I know. In the beginning, I used to be like, where is he going? And now I'm like, I know where he's going.
I'll have tried to jack off, and if it's taking me too long, it's now like a negative experience. It's not this like hot, and I'm like, oh, you know, whatever. I'm like, God damn it. Like,
Yeah.
just fucking...
I feel the same way.
And then I'm like mad at myself, frustrated, disappointed, because I'm like, why can't I fucking just do, you know, like,
Yeah.
which only makes it then harder to do.
And then you don't want to do it the next time because you're like, if this fucking happens again,
I'm
gonna be so pissed.
But like, if someone else does it to me, it could just be like the faint. I like soft,
a breeze.
Yeah, like soft, faint touches. It doesn't even have to be like jacking off. Just kind of like a grazing over, and that'll get me off like fucking quick. I'm like either right away or never gonna happen.
No, but this is so, I think, important for especially our listeners, because we've said many times that this is your experience, but like a lot of people have trouble with different things sexually. Like you can do so much sexually, and it's very
except the simplest thing,
but it's very
off.
Relatable to be like, oh, like, okay, so people have problem areas, and that's okay, and you just find it where you can get it.
Yeah, my problem area is jacking off, and my problem area is getting ridden. Like if I'm laying down, I lose my heart on. Like I'm just like, cause I'm not moving. I'm not as involved anymore. And now I'm just laying there like letting you kind of fuck me or like get fucked by me or whatever the case may be. And I'm not as into it.
So do you prefer like a knees position if you're getting fucked?
Me getting fucked, I can do in any position. Me fucking.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Is where I'm more selective.
Right.
Like I don't.
Forgot where other parts are going.
Yeah. As hot as it is, like to be ridden, like cowgirl, cowboy, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not keeping me hard, and I then start trying to like make movements as well so that I can be involved. And typically the person that's writing you is like, no, let me do it. And I'm like, okay, well then I'm again sitting
You're like,
here.
why
and
am
I'm
I
like,
here?
well, yeah, I'm
I'm
kind of
just touching
like,
a belly button again.
Yeah. So then I start being like, okay, well then I'll touch here. I'll touch, like, I don't know. And if I'm given the opportunity to overthink, it's going to happen, and I'm going to stop enjoying this as much as I am. So that's why I do like orgy situations or like sex clubs that I used to go to, or the spas or the cruising spots and all that kind of stuff, because there isn't time to overthink.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, wham, bam, do that. And then I can leave and fucking overthink once I'm at home smoking my blunt. Like, what just happened?
You have ADD?
I've never been diagnosed with it.
It sounds like it.
It's very possible.
I'm not going to diagnose you on the air.
No, but someone
especially the thing of like people telling you what to do and you don't want to do it anymore. Like that's like a big thing with my ADD.
Yeah, someone sent me like an ADD diagnosis thing or whatever on Instagram once, where in reading that description of it felt very relatable.
Yeah.
Not just like what I thought ADD was.
Either way.
Because I can multitask like no other.
Oh.
And I can focus, and I'm hyper focused on shit, sure.
Yeah.
But I can lose interest very easily
Totally.
in something.
Are there any sexual goals that you have going into the next year of your life?
My sexual goal would just be, I've been on this journey to find my mojo again and get that back to like kind of what it used to be, or figure out what the new version of that is, I suppose. Reclaiming my body.
Yeah.
'Cause it's OnlyFans and porn made it feel like so many people had like a say in what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I don't like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like getting that back, and also being more okay with saying no to things that like I don't want to do. 'Cause there's been plenty of situations where like I felt bad saying no at this point and let things happen, or wanted to be like the fun, cool one. So just let things happen, or felt like that's the only reason they wanted me there. So I kind of had to let it happen. And between those experiences and also like friends catching feelings for me throughout the years of my life, and me losing friendships because of that, because they couldn't tell me, or because I didn't feel the same way, or because, just like so many reasons, that I just kind of feel like I used to be such a people pleaser and afraid to say no to shit. And now I get off on not doing what I don't want to do.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I fully relate we're both in the getting the mojo back stage. I've been in it for like 2 years now.
Same.
So again, more relatable content, and yeah, do stuff that you want to do, but also don't try to force yourself into healing faster. Like it's not gonna come if you are just like willing it.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've gone more on the like, I'm gonna do less, and I'll do it when I want to do it. And I've had so much sex and done all the things that like I really don't care anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with like not. So unless it's a situation that really makes me want to do it, like I don't fucking need to do it. And having a dog helps a lot with that too, because like a lot of the times I'll be like,
Shout out to Chef.
well, and I'll be like, yeah, shout out to Chef. I'll be like on the apps because you're just like, it's a habit, and I'll be talking to people, and there's so many hot people on there that I'm like, well, yeah, like everything about this person says like I should want to go have sex right now, but do I want to go have sex right now?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
or am I just bored?
yeah. And
Or
I'm
is
like,
this something I feel like I should be doing?
yeah, because it like makes the day feel a little more like I did stuff or
Yeah.
accomplished or like on top of work, and
Yeah.
I also did this. And since I'm like a hustler, multitasker, I'm like, yeah, I worked a full day. I had sex twice. I did this. I worked out. It's like all these things that I can just like name off that I did, I suppose. So I don't need to do that now. So a lot of times I'll be doing that, and I'm like, I'm going to walk my dog and like take him to the dog park, and I'll hit you up after.
Yeah.
By the time I come back, I'm like,
I don't
I'm
need to do
tired.
that.
Yeah. Whatever. I'm going to
Yeah.
just lay here with Chef, and that's great.
I'm going to go to Tim's house and watch him fall asleep.
Right.
Okay, we're going to wrap up soon. because you have a show to go to and I have a show to do.
Wow, we have to do so many of these to really touch my life story.
I know. Well, I would have you back any fucking time.
Oh, yeah, because we haven't even gotten to like the good stuff yet.
Well, tell me good stuff then.
Because we haven't touched on like relationships, my marriage.
Oh my God. I didn't even know if we wanted to talk.
Sperm donor.
Really?
Yeah. I have 2 families right now. At the start of this year, we're doing it. I've already
That's so exciting.
done the deals. So yeah, there's like a lot to go.
More to come.
There's a lot to go on there, and just a lot of client talk for sure. There's things to explore.
Okay. Well, we'll do another one when I'm in LA then, because this is a good primer.
We should do that one with Tim. We have to, because he'll know the questions
Okay, great.
you'll want to ask.
Christian, I'm so happy we got to have this conversation.
Same.
I've been wanting to have you on for years, and we're going to do it again.
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, honestly, this has to go a lot deeper.
Yeah. Where can everybody find you on the internet if they want to seek you out? Just as a fan.
I'm on Instagram. It's Christian Camacho _. Honestly, I'm not on the internet much anymore.
Okay.
So like that, I'm at a point right now where like I'm starting to be anti all of that stuff.
Yeah. But if you want to put a face to the voice.
Yeah, I'm there. You can also find me on Twitter, Christian Mingle, Christian spelled with an X, XTIAN. I have OnlyFans. Who knows if I'll post to it again, because that's just where I'm at right now. I think those are the things.
Great.
Or come get a haircut.
Come get a haircut. Yeah. That's
what I do mostly
That's what he does. Yeah.
Nowadays. Most of these stories are like history.
Yeah.
Now I just stay at home, play with my dog, and cut hair.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. I have to ask you one more question. Christian Camacho, did you finish?
Oh, yeah. I came. Sometimes I don't, but this time I did.
Thank you so
Sometimes I
much
fake
for
it.
coming. I finished too. And you guys, we'll see you next time on How Come.
Yeah,
Bye.
I can't wait. Bye.
It's not you, it's me. I try so hard to finish honestly. They say you'll know when you go all the way from A right down to O. Oh no, I think that I still got a ways to go. Oh, I'm sick of this and I have got to know. How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help, 'cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna jizz.
Hello, Marvel section. These are your sexual goals for 2025. The first one we got was get real good at group sex. The next one was come out to at least 3 people and go have fun at the gay bathhouse. Love that. I feel like this episode might inspire you guys even more. Someone said less sex with guys I don't actually like. Love that. Someone said get laid. Hell yeah. Someone said to master squirting. Now, I don't know if squirting is something you can master, but you can definitely get better at it. And I really want this to happen for you. Someone said, feel comfortable with my body so that it doesn't get in the way of pleasure. I am still working on this, so I'm on board with that. Let's go. Someone said 1 person for the year. And another one said, honestly, monogamy, I want to be doing it with the 1. So if you're hoping for 1 for the year, I hope that person comes along. One listener said sapphic sex for the first time. Someone said find a consistent play partner and get my ass fucked for real. Hell yeah. Someone said sex every day for all of January. How is that going? Instead of dry January, wet January. Someone said being patient with my partner when he goes down on me and loses the spot. Facts. Someone said to have my wife be more sexual and intimate. I would love that if that's her goal too. And finally, someone said, make a baby. Isn't that a good sexual goal? Apparently, Christian's going to accomplish it without even having sex. Oh, and then there was one more that said, honestly, I reached them all the last 4 days of 2024. Hashtag sexcation. Round of applause. Congratulations. What's next? I don't know. We'll see you next time on How Come. Love you. Bye.